Good evening. If you look at the previous year papers of civil services main examination, many times there were questions on various laws, various schemes. And today, if you look at our current situation, Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocities Act. So this is called SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act is very much there in the news. So there is a possibility that we may get a question in the forthcoming main examination to be conducted by UPSC. If there is a question on this, how to answer it? So I framed one possible question on this one. So before going ahead, I would like to show you that question. Kindly look at the question first. After that, let's go for the discussion on the same thing. Kindly remember, whatever you want to write in the examination tomorrow, first of all, you need to have knowledge on that particular subject. So without knowing the content of that particular area, writing an answer is not at all possible. That's the reason why whatever we are reading, whatever you are reading, you are expected to read thoroughly and completely. So by taking this particular example into consideration today, by expecting that this is a possible question in the forthcoming examination of this UPSC mains, I would like to discuss on this. Kindly have a look at this. First, let's look at the question, then we'll go ahead. Look at this. SC and ST, it stands for Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes. So this is called POA, Prevention of Atrocities Act. Now, so what may be the question? So tomorrow you may be asked to write 150 words or 200 words, right? That's not an issue. But how exactly your answer fits as far as the question is concerned, that makes all the difference. Look at this. With the overturn of Supreme Court's order and restoring the original provisions of Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocities Act, the executive and the parliament is undermining the principle of a judicial review. So this is the statement, and it may be a question tomorrow critically examined. So read the question once again. With the overturn of Supreme Court's order and restoring the original provisions of Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocities Act, the executive and the parliament is undermining the principle of judicial review. On these statements, you may be asked to critically examine on this. So you may be asked to write 150 words or 200 words. But how do you write it? How do you pick up the answers? It is not just writing something about the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act, but you need to have a thorough understanding beyond that. So many things are involved here. Look at this overturn of Supreme Court's order, meaning with respect to this SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act, Supreme Court has passed an order in the recent past. And for this reason, executive and the parliament is trying to restore the original provisions, meaning Supreme Court tried to delete certain original provisions, and parliament and the executive is trying to restore the same. Whatever has been deleted with the Supreme Court, the executive is trying to put it back. Meaning, if the executive and parliament is interfering like this, is it not undermining the principle of judicial review? So you may get a question like this, and straight questions will not be asked in the examination, especially in the civil service examination. That's the reason why you need to understand the question first, then you need to pick up certain statements on which you are supposed to write the answers. So now let's have a discussion on this. After discussing this, I'll show you, this certain points, and later I will also tell you how you can write answer on this. what are the words that must be appearing, that must be present in the answer. Certain words which are related to this question, which will fit into the answer, must be presented. And how you will come to know what words should be written? That comes out of practice. That's the reason why I always tell you, my dear friends, when it comes to the main examination, you need to write and write. You need to keep on practicing this. Clear? That's the reason why writing answer is different from writing the correct answer, related answer. It is very important. So that's the reason why everybody who's going to the main examination, you write something or the others. But the point is that whether the answer is suiting the question or not, whether you are able to understand the question properly or not, and whether your answer is corresponding to the same question or not, that makes all the difference. That is the reason why writing something, it's a it's anybody's job. That's the reason why some people with a lot of difficulty, this is some people, most of them, they will get the 2-digit mark out of this 250. That is the reason why. So please be very careful. You have the knowledge, you have the subject. Now the thing is that how exactly you are going to present this, that makes all the difference. Now, so we'll take up this for discussion. First of all, in order to write about this one, you need to know, first of all, what is scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Prevention of Atrocities Act. These groups are considered to be marginalized sections of the society. Not now, not at the time of independence, even before the independence also, these groups are considered to be marginalized sections of the society, depressed and suppressed and oppressed sections of the society. So obviously what happens when you commence the constitution, when we have commenced the constitution in the year 1950, our objective is to provide the equality before law, equality of opportunities, everything should be equal. Meaning the constitution looks at all the people equally. Constitution will not bother regarding the religion, caste, creed, sex, or place of birth. So when you eliminate all these things, then only so you will be able to fulfill the fundamental principle called equality before law. So everybody should be treated equally. That's the reason why. So some people should not be treated as deprived sections of the society, and some people should not be treated or discriminated as oppressed sections of the society. Everybody should be treated equally. For this reason, you have a constitution. Just because something is present in the constitution, it doesn't mean that it will become effective. In order to make it effective, you need to make the laws. And in order to implement the laws, you have to make the rules. So this is a general procedure. If you look at India, so we have various provisions under Indian Penal Code, but Parliament felt, government felt that the provisions that are existing in Indian Penal Code are not sufficient to protect the interests and the rights of the SCs and STs. That is the reason why in the year 1955, Civil Liberties Act has come into the picture. And of course, in original it is called Untouchability Prevention Act of 1955. Later it has been later it has been renamed as Civil Rights Acts. So Civil Rights Protection Act, it has been renamed. But again, the Parliament and Executive felt that these two aspects, Indian Penal Code and the law that is passed by the Parliament, Civil Rights Protection Act, are not sufficient to protect the interest of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. So you need something more for this. That is the reason why. In the year 1989, Parliament has passed a Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocities Act. Act has been passed. And one of the sections in this is directing the central government, meaning central government is empowered to frame the rules for implementing this act effectively to prevent the atrocities against the SCs and STs. And this is the act that defined the term atrocity for the first time. Otherwise, you will come across with the word something called crime. There is a difference between atrocity and crime. When you look at this atrocity, it should be really inhuman activity. That should be really shocking activity, and that too against certain sections of the society like scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. But when it comes to the crime, when you say crime, it's an act. It's an act that is punishable under the law. Somebody did something. You parked the vehicle somewhere. So that's an act. That's a crime. So for this reason, you need to be punished. That's the reason why the people will be, this is penalized by imposing some amount in the form of challan. So that is the reason why there is a difference between crime and the so-called the atrocities. And the word atrocities is generally used for the crime that is against scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people. So first thing what I want you to understand is that when you write this particular answer, you have to use the word atrocity. You have to use the word atrocity, atrocities against prevention of atrocities against SCs and STs. In the place of atrocity, if you write the word crime, that is not suitable. Of course, the meaning is there, but you are writing UPSC examination, which is really a challenging one, and the papers are going to be examined by experts, and they look into each and every word. That is the reason why you have to present yourself so effectively to convince that expert. And now you think how effective your answers must be, my dear friends. Clear, got it? So now, so the word atrocity has been defined here in this particular act. If any atrocity against a scheduled caste candidate by non-scheduled caste candidates, that will be covered under this particular act. If any atrocity against ST by a non-ST candidate is also covered under this particular act. Since the act is basically meant for the protecting the rights of the people, interests of the people who belong to SC and ST categories. That is the reason why if a complaint is maybe that is if it is abuse in nature, if it is this disrespecting or whatever it is, if the sentiments are hurt, then obviously a case can be filed. But the thing is that starting from the year 1995, after the rules have been framed, so many cases have been filed. But where do you hear all these cases? First of all, that's the reason why this act also permitted for creating the special courts for this. Special courts, the so-called designated special courts must be created, must be established in every district to handle these cases, so that there is a possibility of the quick disposal of these cases. Unfortunately, in most of the districts, these courts have not been set up. These courts have not been set up. That is number one. Number two, how serious are these cases? Right? How serious are these cases? For example, here, starting from the year 1995, if you look at the cases that are related to rape accusation, only 2% have been proved. Only 2% have been convicted, and the rest were acquitted. So there is a very serious demand saying that this particular act is being used for targeting some people. So that is another fear. That is the reason why Supreme Court very recently passed an order that immediate arrest should not take place. Immediate arrest should not take place. First of all, you need to get the permission. If it is a government employee, First of all, you need to get the permission from the appointing authority that you are going to investigate this person. For this reason, you have to give at least 7 days time, and after that investigate. After that, if you really feel that the case is so severe that the person has to be arrested, then only he must be arrested. Anticipatory bail is not permitted under this particular act, but Supreme Court has done away with the concept of this, and Supreme Court permitted for anticipatory bail in this type of cases. Obviously, the people who belong to this Dalit community across the country, they raised the objections. Already, the existing law itself is getting diluted, and the current order of the Supreme Court is diluting the law further and further. Then what about our interests? What about our rights? So they will be weakened. And protest has been taken place across the country, and unfortunately, on that particular day, 12 people have died. Very, very sad, very, very unfortunate. 12 people have died. So now there is a pressure on political parties. Now there is pressure on the government what to do something. Political parties started putting pressure on the government of India to issue an ordinance, to overturn the order of the Supreme Court, and also restoring the original provisions of the Act. There was a pressure, but government did not do that one. But yesterday, on August 1st, 2018, the government has decided, the cabinet took a decision that a bill has to be introduced in the parliament in the form of amendment, and this is basically meant for overturning the order of the Supreme Court and restoring the original provisions of Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocities Act. So what's happening now? On August 9th, 2018, so many people have planned for going for Bharat Bandh. That may lead to violence, and that may, this cause certain deaths also. But now that may not happen because the government took the decision for overturning the order of the Supreme Court. But for this reason, you need to introduce the amendment bill, and once it is passed by the parliament, then that is considered to be the overturning the order of the Supreme Court. And after that, what will happen? In between, government intervened. In fact, after the order of Supreme Court, again, the government interfered and requested the Supreme Court to look into the matter once again. It happened through a review petition. That order should be withdrawn. Original provisions must be restored. But the Supreme Court did not accept that. Supreme Court did not accept that one. And finally, by coming under pressure, the government took a decision, cabinet took a decision for going for the amendment. And most probably in the current session only, the bill will be passed. The bill will be passed, the amendment bill will be passed, and the original provisions will be restored. Later, if somebody approaches the judiciary once again, if the judiciary nullifies those amendments, then what will happen? That will lead to the conflict once again between the judiciary on one side and executive and parliament on the other side. So which is not a healthy symptom as far as a democracy is concerned. India is a country which is the largest democratic country in the world, and healthy democracy will prevail only when the separation of powers between these three organs exists very efficiently and effectively, and that should lead to the balance of the powers. And all the three organs, legislature, executive, and judiciary, are expected to act within their realm. And if someone tries to overpower the others, and if the other one is also trying to do the same thing, that will lead to unnecessary conflicts. Fine. So that is the reason why. So these misunderstandings, these clashes, conflicts between these three organs of the government must be reduced. That should be minimized. Then only it will lead to the healthy democracy. So when you are writing the answer, you have to write an answer in a very balanced manner. in a very balanced manner. You need to add certain, you need to suggest that certain provisions like, protection of the people who are innocent. That is also the important thing. Otherwise, just because of anger, if a case is filed and the person is thrown behind the bars, then then what is the effectiveness of the law? Law must be there to punish those people who are really culprits. And in order to know whether the person did the crime or not, did perform the atrocity or not, investigation has to be done, but not so severely, meaning arresting the person immediately will really humiliate the person. In fact, clear, if he really does something, then he has to be punished. That is the reason why in various states, in most of the cases, they have been the people have been acquitted, meaning they were not convicted. So that is the reason why Supreme Court interfered. But what is expected to be done is that there should be a balance even in the understanding between these three organs of the government. And only when these three organs of the government are functioning properly, effectively, to fulfill the dreams of the democracy, then only India is considered to be a real democratic country. Clear? So now what shall I do is that I'll show you the points. I'll show you the points again. I'll show you the question. After that, I'll also tell you how to pick up, the essence from the question. Clear? Now look at this. So read the question once again. Okay. Look at this. These are all the things that are present in the newspaper today. So this is related to protecting marginalized communities. So this is the key demand of the Dalit groups, and government decided to go for certain amendment and restoring the original provisions. So obviously, the proposed Bharat Bandh on August 9th, this that may be called off. We need to wait and watch. But otherwise, on April 2nd, the protest that took place, unfortunately, 12 people have died. Very, very, very painful, right? And the government was facing pressure from various quarters. That is the reason why government went ahead. Clear? And the Supreme Court bench of justices Adarsh Kumar Goyal and UU Lalit had also removed the restriction on granting anticipatory bail. And whatever they have done, all the things will be restored now. Now look at this. So this is the question. Read the question, please. With the overturn of a Supreme Court's order. Kindly look at this. I have highlighted and I have underlined. So these are the very, very, very important aspects that you need to remember when you write the answers. So you need to focus on these points. And restoring the original provisions of Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribe, Prevention of Atrocities Act, the executive and the parliament is undermining the principle of judicial review. Critically examine. So now what should be done? So the core with respect to this question is the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act. So obviously, when you start writing the answer, you cannot jump into the middle and start writing from the middle. You need to give introduction. That may be 15 words, that may be 20 words or 25 words. It doesn't matter, but you need to give that. Since the core is SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act, obviously you need to write what exactly is that. Then you will be going into the other details. So what are the steps that you need to understand here? Look at this. So if you look at this question, first of all, you are expected to write what is SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act. Kindly remember, you may be writing 15 words, 20 words, 25 words, doesn't matter. But please remember, you have to be within the limit of number of words that has been given by UPSC. That you have to remember, my dear friends. Clear? Some people will write, very small letters, and they will try to write, 250, 300 words. That is not at all acceptable. Clear? If you write too much, you are increasing the quantity. But my dear close friends, with respect to this examination, quantity is not accepted, but quality is accepted. You are clear, direct, focused, related. Answers must be written here, then only you will be scoring the marks. Clear? Now, why Supreme Court altered certain provisions? Why government restored the original provisions? Now you know all these points. How the principle of judicial review is undermined. After explaining all these points, then you are going for a conclusion where you will be mentioning about the separation and balance of powers must be maintained in a healthy democracy. Kindly remember this one. So you are ending so with a positive note, and you are mentioning the word healthy democracy. Words healthy democracy, that is very 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 important. It somewhere I want you to this mention also very clearly regarding the word atrocity. Clear? And you need not explain the meaning of the word atrocity, because there is not sufficient words will not be this permitting. And if you take the word atrocity and if you try to explain the meaning of the word atrocity, so many words you are wasting it. And when you are wasting number of words, the actual answer, where do you present? That is the reason why what to write is important, what not to write is more important. That is the reason why I always tell you to keep on practice, practice, and practice. Clear? So I have shown you the question, right? I'll show you the question once again. Clear? And if somebody wants to this write the answer, come on, you can please write the answer and send this to my mail id, right? So you can see here my mail id, you can see kalyannuguri@gmail.com. In fact, for IAS 2018 we already started the writing practice yesterday itself. Clear? And you can take a pic of this if you want the question, and this is my mail id, you can send the answer to this. But kindly remember one thing, yesterday we have started a writing practice with respect to IAS 2018, and we started with paper number 3, we started with the Indian economy. Yesterday I gave 26 questions on economy, and now the aspirants are going through those questions. Clear? And tomorrow I am going to explain them certain aspects with relation to those questions, and I am also going to provide them answers. After that, again I'll ask them to write the same questions, questions in their own style. So now, so there will be a drastic improvement in their writings. So this is how we are going to do first paper 3, and rest of the papers will also be done 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally, so I'll be taking up general essay. Clear? If anybody is interested to write the test, and preferable, I told you that very clearly, the highest priority will be given to the students who are writing the May examination this time, next month, right? Whoever is writing, right? The rest of the people you can also write, but you please send me the answers later, so that what will happen, you are allowing me to concentrate on the students who are writing the examination this time, right? And you can write the answers, the rest of the students, but you please send it to me after the completion of the main examination, and I'll be definitely extending my support to all of you. So thank you so much for being with me this evening, and I hope this session has enriched your knowledge. Clear? Whether you are writing examination 2018 or 2019, but follow these things very very carefully. And this now and then I will come out with the questions like this, and I'll also explain you the basic concepts, and I'll also explain you how to write the answer, and what words must be mentioned, and how do you limit the number of words as asked in the examination. All those things, many points I'm going to tell you. So that is the reason why don't miss the class. Don't miss the class. Keep watching our classes regularly. So I'll be covering both objective and also descriptive, and also I'll give you there's a facts, I'll also give you the analysis, and just follow me and you are going to crack it. Thank you so much for being with me once again, and I'll see you in the next class. Take very good care. Good night.